Good afternoon, and thank you for continuing to be a part of our MedTech event. Really excited to introduce you to one of the brightest new things that's happening in Western New York. The founder and CEO of Immuneon, Adam Utley, is with us. I first learned about Adam and what he was working on when he won the Panache competition at UB a couple of years ago during the pandemic. So, there's nothing that he can't overcome. And so I'd like to introduce Adam and have him tell us about what Immuneon does.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction. And honestly, the great thing about this MedTech conversation is that our success is very much so dependent on the collaborations and the great people that are in our area, both in healthcare and otherwise. So I'm looking forward to telling you more about it. Immuneon is a company that really addresses a big problem for people that develop cancer, in that one of the most promising strategies to fight cancer is to take advantage of the soldiers in your body, the soldiers that are called immune cells. These soldiers generally fight against things like viral infections or bacterial infections, but some of the most promising new therapeutic strategies take advantage of those soldiers, and instead of having them fight a virus, retrain those soldiers to fight against the cancer. But the problem is those soldiers, by the time we have cancer, just don't know how to fight well. So we at Immuneon, we try to pull out those soldiers when they're very healthy, and we store them away so that when a patient might develop a disease like cancer, they can take advantage of those really vibrant soldiers to fight the best battle that they can.
That's amazing. I mean, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Personalized medicine as a trend, or your idea and cultivating these soldiers?
That's a great question. Personalized medicine was really born from the idea that we could read an individual's code and understand a lot about their diseases as a result. We call that code the DNA, right? The genome. And we thought, if I could figure out exactly what your DNA says about you or your disease, I can figure out exactly how to target it. So that was kind of how we started thinking about personalized medicine. But after several decades, we realized that it expands to so many more applications. For instance, your immune cell soldiers can only be used in your body. So, in a similar manner, it's very personalized in its approach. So it's a little bit more of a macro approach from a personalized medicine interpretation. But what's fantastic about using our approach to personalized medicine in this macro way is we can also use what we understand from the code to find targets that those immune cell soldiers can then go on to fight. So in the lab currently at places like Roswell, at the Jacobs Institute, at many places in New York State, we're trying to determine very specific ways that the code make cancer cells susceptible to immune cell soldiers being able to fight them, right?
Yeah.
So in having the most vibrant soldiers stored away, we're able to use what we learn from the code and other aspects of personalized medicine to make patients' lives better.
Extraordinary. Um, so, at what point did you go from science project to entrepreneur? This is solid science that could be a commercialized product and process.
Well, that's a great question as well. You know, I remember working in the lab many years ago. I got my PhD here in Buffalo at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. And we recognized that the challenge in the field of immunotherapy was that not every patient responded the same way. That's often the case for drugs. But what we began to understand is that specific kinds of drugs really worked well when the immune system was healthy. And what we saw in lab was when we tried to create these drugs, they're literally drugs created from cells. So we pull out those soldiers from the blood of a person who has cancer, and we retrain those cells to seek out and destroy the cancer in their bodies. The challenge, though, was we were seeing in lab as we were creating these drugs, when we started with healthy, vibrant soldiers, we had a fantastic cell-based drug. But when we were starting with cells that were broken down by age, by cancer, sometimes by even other diseases, we weren't able to get those productive drugs created in the lab setting. So around 2017, the FDA was poised to begin approving these cell-based therapies in the clinic. And so at the time, myself and several of my co-founders, including James Cooper, who's in his MD PhD program at the Jacobs School now, we recognized the challenge that, well, how could we solve this problem in lab? Well, let's use healthier cells, right, out of the freezer, or let's order healthier cells and not use these patient cells. And we were getting much better drugs. Well, what if we could give that to patients? In that way, we looked back historically, and we've been providing cord blood storage for almost 30 years now. This is a strategy for newborn babies to be able to store away, their parents will store away the newborn child's stem cells, the baby cells in the body. So there are certain diseases that that child may develop that those baby cells can be used to treat that disease. So we kind of saw an analogous business model in cord blood storage, and we thought, let's try to bring this to market. Let's do it in Buffalo, and let's see what we can do to make patients' lives better and hopefully make immunotherapy more effective for anyone that gets cancer.
I remember in one of the conversations I had with another entrepreneur, we were talking about the core blood cells, and they were using it for like bone marrow transplant patients. How, without getting too deep into it, how do you administer this? Is it something that's an IV? Are we going to pop a pill? How would this work?
That's a great question. So the way that this would currently be applied in the clinic is we would store your immune cells when they're healthy before you get cancer. So it's almost an insurance policy in the same way that cord blood storage would be. So if you have your insurance policy and you have your cells stored away, we would send them to a pharmaceutical company. They would create the cell-based drug from those cells, send them back to your doctor, maybe at Roswell or at any, Sloan Kettering in New York City, and they would take those and reinfuse them into your blood. And those cells would then go throughout the body, find the cancer, and fight the good fight.
I love that. I'm going to pivot a bit because you started the conversation with talking about the collaborations and being born of the Western New York ecosystem. Can you talk about that a little bit and the path that you've taken from Panache to where you are now?
Sure. The great quote, I think it was Newton, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. We have many giants in the area that we're blessed to have been, able to be bolstered by and be supported by and learn from. My academic background was at Roswell Park, as I had said, but they have also been fantastic in lending us their expertise, allowing us to be able to formulate ways to utilize their infrastructure. But it's not just Roswell. The University of Buffalo itself has so many fantastic programs that allowed someone like me, an absolute science nerd. I squirt liquid in tubes. That's my job. That's what I know. But they really, through the Buffalo Entrepreneurship Program, most recently a Cultivator program that they have created to really allow us as a team to understand what it means to build a business from an idea that you might have in lab. But it's not just UB, it's not just Roswell, it's also other entities within the community, right? Even KSL Diagnostics, Kevin Lawson, we had a great conversation with him about how we might be able to partner in a diagnostic capacity to understand what the immune system looks like for our customer base, right? And they've got some really great ideas on how to do the in-depth analysis from their platform. And it's just a wonderful collaborative environment.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful conversation with Irfan Khan, the CEO over at Circuit Clinical, about how we might be able to augment what they're doing by virtue of some of the data and research that we understand, and then be able to take advantage of some of the things that they may have resources at their disposal to augment what we're trying to do. And so really it's about great conversations with much smarter people than I am. But everyone just wants us all to succeed. You know, the rising tide raises all boats. So it's a
Yeah.
wonderful collaborative environment.
That's amazing. I mean, Western New York is known as the city of good neighbors. Um, but, one of the reasons I'm so excited about this MedTech series is being able to tell that story on how what we're doing is impacting the rest of the world. Can you talk just briefly about how your partners are outside of the area as well? This is not happening in a silo. You are working with national reputation centers on bringing this forward.
Absolutely. So we have collaborated with researchers at Duke in the context of understanding some of the research behind how the immune system changes when certain cancers develop and how we can best use that knowledge to create more effective soldiers, more effective drugs from healthier immune cells. But we also have very close ties and engagement communication with Cesar Rodriguez at Mount Sinai, and we've got collaborators at Sloan Kettering. The Wake Forest Institute of Regenerative Medicine is also doing some fantastic work in the same space. So really, it's about it's not just it's not just science. It's about the collaborative spirit of trying to really make medicine better. And we in New York are doing a fantastic job here by leveraging our expertise in order to build these collaborations with so many other places. One of the best experiences that I had in my PhD was when we traveled as part of my lab group in understanding immunotherapy to Havana, Cuba with Roswell. And just having that international understanding of what it means to collaborate in the context of building better cancer therapies, even on an international scale, even in a place like Cuba. So it's just been a wonderful experience.
Amazing. Well, as we're wrapping up, two last things. What kind of help do you need? Who else are you looking to collaborate with? And how can people get in touch with you?
Well, certainly, please visit us at www.immuneon.com. And I think that'll be at the bottom of the screen. I know it's hard to spell through the name. But we are looking to continue our collaborations in both the business world here in Buffalo and Western New York, as well as in the research context. As we build out our operational infrastructure, we're always looking for partners in the context of vendors and other people who might be interested in helping us with marketing our product, and just building a customer base that allows their therapy to be more effective in the future. We really want to be able to spread the word. And, we're in an exciting time in the company, so we're expanding. We're currently looking for several different positions. And so if you're interested in what we are looking for and how we're trying to get that accomplished, please reach out to me. If you visit the website, my email is there. And please shoot me an email anytime. We're excited to have as many conversations as we can. We really, as a team, feel like the more engagement we have with the community, the better we can do as a company and for the community as a whole. So please reach out to us. We have got a lot of wonderful things to talk about. It's an exciting time for the company. We're in the midst of a round. So, reach out. Let us know what you can do and how we can help you.
That sounds fabulous. Adam, I can't thank you enough for being with us today. Best of luck to you, and look forward to seeing great things from Immuneon in the future.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.